Hello and welcome back. Sorry, we were having a few sound difficulties there. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. It is the last day of November. It is 11 o'clock. And again, as always, we have a packed show to get through. Today, we're going to take a look at two things to do with Bitcoin. Gary Gensler, why has he gone quiet on the ETFs? Why is he not giving his opinion anymore? And why can't we break above 38,500? We've got the answers to that question. We're then going to look at Algorand. We've not looked at Algorand for about 4 or 5 weeks. We're going to take a look at Algorand, some news about Algorand, and then I'm going to go over the connections to the World Economic Forum. We're going to do a review of IOTA. People in Telegram yesterday were saying it was going to go on a bit of a run. It's had a pump recently. So we're going to go over what IOTA is and what the price action is on that. We're going to go over Copper, which is a crypto investment company, which Philip Hammond, an ex-Chancellor of the Exchequer in the UK, is heading up. We're going to look at the sale of a Grayscale stock. And is that going to have any impact? I don't think so. We're then going to look finally at how blockchain gaming is going to work out. Can Microsoft crack the golden egg? Can we finally start to see blockchain games coming to the Microsoft Store, Sony, PlayStation? What has to happen? So it's a packed show. What I'd like you all to do is hit the like button, follow us, let us know that you're watching, let us know that you care. Good morning to Kishan, good morning to Solo, good morning to all the people in chat. I hope you're having a lovely day. Tariq, good morning to you. Tariq, we made the two videos I said we were going to make on the AI tokens, and we put them both up last night. They are fairly lengthy. Brogan did 20 to 25 minute reviews on both tokens. I think he's given you accumulation prices, and I think he's given you targets in the short term. Obviously, with AI tokens, these are tokens that I'm going to be holding into the next bull run, which is 2 years away. So the two tokens that are highlighted, which is Fetch and Singularity, I've bought both of those tokens at the start of this year. I am not going to be selling those two tokens for the next 2 years at least. And if any other AI tokens do come up, should I say, we will highlight them on here and maybe do some video reviews of them. We shall see. Now let's get back into the markets. Market cap is 1.42 trillion. It's only down 1%. The volume is just under 50 billion at 46.8 or 46.6 billion. Bitcoin dominance. I mean, these figures don't change too often. It's the trend that we need to look at. So Bitcoin dominance is now over 52%. That's going to start sneaking up, I think. If you look at the year-to-date performance of Bitcoin compared to Ethereum, for example, Bitcoin has gone up 128% compared to Ethereum's 69%. So Bitcoin has outperformed everybody in the last 12 months, apart from, of course, Solana, which has been on an absolute tear. So Bitcoin is coming in at 37.7. Again, we're going to go over why that is in a minute. Ethereum is still holding above $2,000. I was hoping we were going to hold $2,100, but that retracement that we had, as long as we hold above 2,000, I'll be happy. Once we get below 2,000, we've then got the entire fight again of getting back above it. So if we can hold this line, it would be fantastic. In the last 24 hours, IOTA is up 36%. We're going to go into the reasons why in a minute. Theta is up 7%, Injective 6%. Not a lot of gainers in the last 24 hours outside of those few. Losers, Stacks, say, Blur, we made a video about on Tuesday, I think, or maybe Monday, and Brogan explained in that video that he was expecting Blur to come down in the short term to about 38-39 cents before bouncing back towards 60 cents. So we'll see how accurate that is. Terra Classic, as I've said before, do not touch. In my opinion, don't go near Loonsea, don't go near Terra Classic USTC. They are both currently being manipulated. We've said this before, but basically this used to be $1 and people are talking about repegging it to $1. It's a zombie coin. It's not connected to anything. It's just a pump and dump. Don't lose your money. Of all the coins on the screen in front of you, it's the least used coin. So please don't go anywhere near it. Uniswap is down a little bit. Celestia is down, struggling to stay above $6. Axie is down. We know about Axie. Axie is down because of the token release this week. Gala is down a touch. We've got big hopes for Gala. We think it's going to be a good coin. Lufter Yogner, thank you for the comment. Nice to see you in the room. So, with all that being said, let's move on very quickly to talk about what is going to happen with Bitcoin. Oh, one thing I have to mention is I have specifically dug out one of the old quizzes that we did halfway through the year, and we're going to have a 8 question quiz at the end of the show. I did promise a few days ago we're going to do this, and now we are. There's 8 questions in the quiz at the end of the show. Each question you will win crypto if you are on one of the exchanges we're on. Remember, the red envelope we drop at 20 past 11. We were dropping it at 11 o'clock, but people weren't managing to make it on time for the start of the show, so now everything is moved to 20 past 11. So the red boxes, red envelopes will all be dropped in about 13 minutes time. So the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, stays mum on prospects for a spot Bitcoin ETF, says he won't prejudge the matter. Now, this is what has riled me. He has done nothing but prejudge crypto for the last 2 years. So for him to turn around and say he's not going to prejudge, I really don't understand what he's talking about. So let's move down. So Gary Gensler was asked on Wednesday by journalists if the industry could soon see any action surrounding the applications for spot Bitcoin ETFs the agency is reviewing. He said he would not prejudge the matter. He's previously called the agency's review process a time-tested process. Fair enough. When an asset manager is seeking to take something public, these exchange-traded products need to register with the SEC, and they go through a filing, somewhat similar to going public like an IPO. And so it's really the work of our division of corporate finance that gives feedback, our division of trading and markets, of course, looking at the filings. This is a time-tested process that goes back decades. The staff of the SEC, it's called the Disclosure Review Team, but in that group they respond and give feedback. Now, the biggest hurdle that we have seen to do with ETFs is to do with who is going to act as the custodian of the ETF. In America, you cannot hold the assets that you are trading in your ETF. You have to use a third-party custodian. And that third party has been chosen by nearly all of them. They're all going to use the same company. I'm not going to mention their name. But that was the biggest stumbling block, which has now been overcome. It's been agreed. Everybody's happy. So there isn't really anything left other than the second stumbling block, which came up a few weeks ago, which I'm not going to go into, is how the asset is bought. What the SEC want to see is US dollars flowing into the ETF fund and then the fund buying the Bitcoin. What they don't want to see is in-kind purchases where the Bitcoin is sent to the ETF. That's fair enough. I completely understand their stance on that. So he reiterates his stance on crypto. We know all about this. We don't have to go into about this. We don't need to go into the Howey test. The Howey test is 60, 70, 80 years old. We need a crypto version of the Howey test with a few tweaks. It doesn't have to be overhauled, but the Howey test for me doesn't apply to a lot of crypto that has been published. Decentralization, for example, that needs to be taken into account with this. So sorry, I'm getting notifications from comments on another platform. So as far as he's concerned, what he's done is he's taken a step back, and rather than being the mouthpiece, he's now saying that other teams are going to make the decision on the ETF. So is he recusing himself? Because we know what's happened in the past. We've found videos of him talking about different tokens. He's been talking about Algorand. He's talked about Bitcoin in the past. Is he taking a step back to ensure that he doesn't appear to be the bad actor? Is he doing this because he wants the decision to be made by somebody else, so if it comes back with problems, he can kind of get away from that matter? Who knows? All I know is that he's changed his stance in the last 6 weeks, and that is very interesting. So we know why the price of Bitcoin has shot up from 25 to 37,000. The question is, why have we not broken the 38,500 level? And I think that the answer is to do with liquidations. There is a $3.1 billion short squeeze at $38,500. We're going to look at the chart in a minute. Again, we're not going to look at the chart in too much depth. But 38,400 is the price that we have touched on at least 2 occasions in the last week. Why haven't we broken it? This could be the reason. There is massive liquidations at $38,500, $3.1 billion to be precise. Now, what is going to happen when all of these shorts get liquidated? The price will surge. And I have been saying for at least 3 weeks, $40,000 is around the cards. So what do the whales, what do the bulls have to do? They have to push Bitcoin to 38,500, liquidate these shorts, and I think we've got a clean run to $40,000. Monday morning, we could be sitting here having this conversation at 40,200 or 39,800. We could have broken their resistance. So this is the reason why we're struggling. Let's move down to the article. So Crypto Rover, he took to Twitter to share a series of tweets explaining this potential wave of liquidations. Remember, liquidations go in 2 directions. What happens when the longs get liquidated is there's a massive move to the downside and prices can drop $1,000 in the space of 5 minutes. It works in the opposite direction when the short squeeze happens. The shorts are liquidated. The price can go up $1,000, $2,000, whatever it might be. So this is what he's talking about. There is a lot of... Sorry, I need to put my phones on silent. Everything is just going off. There we go. So here is the actual tweet. There's the shorts, 38.5 to 38.7. Another short squeeze is coming. This is a matter of time. And as we're going to go through in a minute, we're going to have a look at the chart. So Bitcoin is breaking 39,700 as the next resistance. This statement suggests that the cryptocurrency is approaching a critical resistance level. So why is 39,007 the next level of resistance? Because people will put sell orders in just under $40,000. That's why. So when I said 39.8, that's the kind of price that I look at. I always look $200 either way of a round number. So 39,800 or 29,800 or 30,200. They're the markers that I look at because that's where the buy and the sell orders are going to be. So let's go and have a quick look at the charts. Just give me 1 second to bring that up. Here we go. All right, so as you can see, we're sitting at 37,750, and we've had a couple of runs at this high level. So if I drop a line, if I bring this line down here, which is the 40,000 line, if I bring this line down here, you will see that this area here and this area here, we've hit 38,000, about 38,480 is where we've touched. So Clearly, the bears are trying to hold this line, but just look at what's happening with the price. We are moving in this direction. At some point, those shorts are going to give. And when those shorts go, we're going to move to $40,000. It is a matter of time. I know I've been saying it for the last 3 weeks. It really is a matter of time. We are 6 months and counting away from the halving. We are probably 5 weeks away from the Bitcoin ETF approval. There's nothing I can see on the short term that can bring us really down. Somebody asked me yesterday on one of the streams, they were saying, can you see a price of 32 to 33,000? Well, there is an area down here at 34,500. So I suppose if we were going to see any kind of downward action, remember, we'd have to break through these pockets, but then there is a gap. So potentially, if we were going to come down, we could come down like this before moving up, but that would take some seriously bad news. And I can't see it. It would have to be some kind of black swan type event. If, for example, there was a way for them to delay Bitcoin ETFs, if they were able to push it from January to April, this could cause a huge wick down to this level. But I do think we would find support at 34,400. That's not the worst case scenario, of course. Remember, we are a long way. Let me see if I can bring up the bull market support band. The bull market support band is still at 31,600 at the minute. So the worst case scenario is a move down here. And that's the bull market support band. But again, we're running out of time for the bad news, and that's the issue for the bears. Is at some point the bears are going to have to switch to bulls. And as you can see here, I've already drawn my targets on the chart. 44,350 is the optimal target for the end of the year. We've then got 36,500 is a kind of shorter term level of support. And then down here, we've got 34,500. They're kind of the figures that I'm looking at. I drew this last night for somebody who was asking a question about how do we get to 32,000? I don't think we do. I think we get to 34,500 at the downward, not the worst case scenario, but certainly down there. So that's where we are with Bitcoin. I'm not going to spend too long on it. Brogan is starting to do TA on the channel as well. So he's doing 20, 25-minute videos on different tokens. Because he's doing that, I don't need to spend anywhere near as much time on the TA as I was, because we now have that content available. Now, Algorand, I'm going to look at two things to do with Algorand. One is this expansion, and two is their connection to the World Economic Forum. And then we're going to move on and look at IOTA. In fact, before we go any further, I think it's time to drop the red envelopes. Hello, Anonymous. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to you from Morocco. Let me just drop these envelopes and then we'll carry on. And a big shout out to all of the people commenting. Kishan, Solo, Tariq, thank you for your comments. Remember, if you have any questions, Tariq asked me a few questions the other day. I think we've made a couple of videos to hopefully answer some of his questions. So just remember that this is a two-way stream. We are always going to try and help. We're always going to try and answer your questions. And remember, we don't have any hidden agendas. We are not sponsored. We are not paid to talk about these coins. We talk about what we want to talk about, and that is it. We don't talk about anything that we don't want to talk about. From time to time, we will cover tokens that we don't personally like. For example, I'm not a fan of Polkadot. So, okay, we will look at the price action on Polkadot, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't personally like Gavin Wood. So just bear that in mind. We don't shill anything. It's our opinions, and our opinions can be wrong. That's something else to bear in mind. You should watch multiple people when you're looking at crypto, multiple people's opinions on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Don't take everybody's opinion as gospel. It is an opinion. You're welcome, Rick. Who else is in there? Lixia is here. Jane, Bader, welcome to the stream, everybody. Right, let me crack on. Also, we give crypto away every day. So every day we stream, we give away crypto. If you want to get crypto for watching us on every stream, all you need to do is follow and hit the like button. If you're watching on a platform that isn't an exchange, all of the links to our platforms are underneath the video or underneath the stream. So make sure to come over and check us out. As I say, we stream Monday to Saturday, normally at 11 a.m. Maybe tomorrow we'll be streaming later. Maybe tomorrow we'll be streaming at 12 or 1 o'clock. I need to check. And then on Saturdays, we will be streaming from the studio, so you will get to see our beautiful faces. So Algorand. Full disclosure, I have a bag of Algorand that I have held from about 19 cents, and I think we're down to about 13 cents now. I'm going to check the prices in a minute. So Algorand has expanded its footprint in India by securing new partnerships with NASSCOM, India's trade body and Chamber of Commerce for Tech, Thai Bangalore, a global venture supporting entrepreneurs, and Man Deshi Foundation, which supports India's first rural bank for women. So they've started something called Algo Bharat. The word Bharat represents the nation of India. At the time, Algorand partnered with Self-Employed Women's Association to support women-led enterprises, building blockchain solutions, and with Jawal Halal, I'm going to murder this, I do apologise, Nehru Technological University and the Indian School of Business to launch faculty development programs. It will now build out Web3 capabilities of youngsters using the Future Skills Prime Skill Hub. Great. Love this concept. Get as many kids and as many women into crypto as possible. Crypto is not about being a 30-year-old male. It should be for everybody. That sounds like a very hippie thing to say, but it's true. We are not going to regulators with recommendations, but we are waiting for India's central bank digital currency to happen, CBDC. We want to see how we can build on that, but as a protocol, our heavy focus is real-world utility, very similar to Cardano. In that respect, with Sewa, Algorand has launched a pilot to help women earn high-value carbon credits through data it will collect via a blockchain-based solution. So Algorand is doing the right things in the right places. And part of this was a deal that they struck with the World Economic Forum. I don't know if it was in October. I think it was October that they joined with the World Economic Forum. Now, I am not going to pass judgment on the World Economic Forum, other than to say it's an unelected body. They are not elected by anybody. They are a brainchild of Klaus Schwab. They try and influence world leaders and government bodies. They have their Davos meeting every year, and Trump has been there in the past. Prime ministers of India, prime ministers of the UK have been there. I'm not going to pass judgment on them. I've made plenty of videos about them in my time. But the Algorand Foundation has partnered with the World Economic Forum, and especially the I think it's Hillary Clinton as well. They've partnered with her on some projects. And like I was saying before, I cover things that I'm not a fan of. And although I hold Algorand, I'm not a fan of Algorand being connected to the World Economic Forum and Hillary Clinton. I like to see projects be outside of the political spectrum, and aiding countries directly, put it that way. However, as far as price action is concerned, this is bullish for the token itself because it adds real world utility and real world problems are going to be solved by Algorand. And that for me is the key. You can look at Cardano and what they're doing in Africa. You can look at Bitcoin and the Lightning wallet and what it's doing in Asia and Africa. Real world problems are being solved, and those real world problems are not just about paying for food and paying for rice, paying your electricity bills. It's about solving problems for people who can't get bank accounts. That's the entire point of some of these projects. You want to help the unbanked. 30% of the world, or 30% of transactions in the world, don't go through banks because they are not allowed to get bank accounts. And that's where crypto has found adoption, especially in Africa. So Algorand has been in this horrifically downward spiral for the last 9 months, I would say. Bring this up. Now, what you'll notice, and I mention this a lot on the channel, is when we are below the bull market support band, or the moving average, whatever you want to call it, when we're below it, it's bearish. And if you go back over time, you will see just how hard it's been for Algorand. Every time it's tried to break this moving average, it has been rejected and rejected, and it's come into this bottom range here, and it has literally bottomed out. There is a theory that coins can't go to zero, but Algorand certainly tried. Now, what's just happened at the end of October, which probably coincides with the news that came out, is Algorand broke up. But not only did it break up, it came down to test for support. So this is a huge, huge step in the right direction for Algorand to recover. What we don't want to see is this. That's what we don't want to see. But I think at this stage of where we are in the markets, we should be looking at this area here, which is 21 cents. That's a 50% move, I know. But I'm actually not going to do the calculation on here. But what I would like to see from Algorand, because of, like I said, because of all this positive news, these are long-term projects, is I'd like to see something like this. So by the beginning of the year, we're at 21 cents. That would give us a 50% upside from where we are now, based on the fact that everything's going to be dragged up with Bitcoin. Everything's going to go up with the ETFs and the halvings and everything else like that. So this is one of those coins that hasn't really pumped to the same extent that Solana has pumped, or other 50 to 100% moves. It has been struggling, and it has touched the lowest of the low. It's touched 8.2 cents. I bought Algorand about here, 19 cents. So I bought at this level. And as you can see, when I bought at this level, we've done nothing but come down. It's my worst performing crypto of the year by a country mile. I am down 40% on this coin. But that doesn't mean the project is bad. It means that the price action is bad. It doesn't mean it's a failed project. It's signed up with the Hillary Clinton Foundation. It's signed up with the World Economic Forum. It's in bed with Indian blockchain solutions. If you were going to go to one large country in the world that wasn't America to do this, you would go to India. The only thing with India is that the central bank is very, very picky when it comes to crypto. They're very, very hot and cold. But India is still going to be a massive, massive, massive market for crypto. So from what I can see, we could see an Algorand at 90 cents in the very near future, maybe even $1 towards the bull market. So don't fade it. It's a good price to get in. 13 cents is a good price to buy Algorand, in my humble opinion. If you look, we've really, if we go all the way out, it's the lowest price it's been in its history. And if you look at where it is now, it's still the lowest price it's ever been. We have been up at $2.20. So don't worry too much about all-time highs just yet. Let's get us back towards 20-30 cents. The price up here is 30 cents. That's another good target. We have got good kind of correlation with the fib levels as well. We've got 43 cents here. That's a good sign. So there's lots of bullish news coming out about Algorand. The same with XRP. Loads of bullish news coming out about XRP, but the price action is delayed. That's the key. So for me, go and check it out. Now what we're going to do is something different. We're going to look at IOTA. And the reason we're looking at IOTA, I'm going to give you a brief description of it, why it's in the news, and then we're going to look at the charts. So I've tried to find the simplest explanation of what IOTA is. So it's a ledger designed to record and execute transactions between machines and devices in the Internet of Things. Obviously, the Internet of Things is everything. Your washing machine, your fridge, your oven, your lights, your heating, all that kind of stuff. And the ledger uses a cryptocurrency called IOTA to account for transactions in its network. The key innovation is Tangle, a system of nodes used for confirming transactions. It claims that Tangle is faster and more efficient than typical blockchains used in cryptocurrencies. So there's a bit of a breakdown here, and then we'll get on to the news. It began life as a hardware project whose goal was to design low-cost general purpose processors. It aims to solve key scalability and performance issues with Bitcoin by replacing its blockchain with Tangle, the system of nodes we just talked about. It has its own set of scaling problems, and some aspects of this cryptocurrency were vulnerable to hacks. IOTA's market cap is still down substantially from 2017 highs. The cryptocurrency fortune shown signs of improvement in late 2020. So basically, it's a crypto for the Internet of Things using Tangle. That's the takeaway from this. Now, why is it in the news? Well, it has gone up some 40% in the last day. And I'm not a huge fan of chasing gains, because by the time you've got there, it's already gone. You've already had the gains, and now the price is going to come down. You see it a lot of these news places. They will report on a token that's gone up 500% in the last 2 weeks. If you buy into those tokens because they've gained 500%, all you're going to lose is 80% of the value of your investment, because those tokens normally retrace, and it's natural. If you have a 300% pump up and 150% retracement, that's a natural retracement and not anything to worry about, unless of course it's a pump and dump scheme. So IOTA has gone up 43% after registering the Ecosystem Foundation in Abu Dhabi. So the IOTA Ecosystem Foundation claims to be the first foundation to be registered under the Emirates regulatory framework for blockchain foundations, the press release said. As you can see, we've had a bit of a pump. Still not a huge market cap though. $760 million is not a huge market cap. Okay, so it jumped 43% on Wednesday on news about registering. The foundation is the first foundation. It will be funded by $100 million worth of IOTA tokens locked up for 4 years, the press release said. Well, what's that? That's 1 in 7. That's 14% of its total supply. The price surged to 25 cents from 17 cents immediately after the announcement, hitting its highest level since February. The development came after it said the same thing 3 times. IOTA is one of several crypto-adjacent firms that clinched approvals from Abu Dhabi's regulators. Recently, Paxos received it. Liminal, a digital asset custody and wallet infrastructure, the same thing. The rash of approvals comes as Abu Dhabi. We don't need to read about that. So IOTA has basically stepped into the spotlight and its price has pumped. The question is, has that price pump of 43%, is that warranted given the news? That's the question to ask. Now, if you look at this kind of price action of IOTA, you could go back as far as you want and look at how far this token has dropped since May last year. It has done nothing but come down. Now, do I think that pump is sustainable? I do not think this pump is sustainable. I think this is a hype-driven pump in the price. We did break multiple fib levels. We came up to 29 cents. We're at 24 cents. Unless there is more dramatic news to come out, I cannot see the reason for why we are going to see this be sustained. Again, very, very similar to what we've just seen with Algorand. We cannot break and hold the bull market support band, or sorry, the moving average, and we broke it, we used it as support, and we've shot up. Is this sustainable? I don't think so. I don't think you should be buying at 24 cents. If you like the project, if you think it has long-term possibilities, what I think is likely to happen, and again, this is my opinion, I think what we're likely to see is something like this, with the price coming down. So as the moving average moves up like this, what I think we're likely to see is the price come down to here and then maybe move back up towards 22 cents. But I certainly wouldn't be buying this token based on Abu Dhabi approving its registration and the foundation being set up over there. So for me, this is news that's going to fade. And if you look at what happened to XRP winning the court case sent it to $1, and now we're back down at 60 odd cents. So I don't see this. I wouldn't be buying now. The best time to be buying this coin is anything in this range here. And this range here is about 13.5 cents up to about 17 cents. That's where I'd be buying the token. I certainly wouldn't be buying it up here. So that's the project review covered. I'm not going to spend too much longer on it. We've got 7 minutes left to get through these 3 articles, and then we'll move on with the quiz. There's just never enough time in an hour to get through everything, and I certainly don't want to be getting rid of the quiz. So one of the things about when you're a politician that I'm sure many of you know, I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding too political. When you finish being a politician, when you finish being a chancellor or a president or a prime minister, what tends to happen is you go and get a position of some significance in a large blue chip company. So Nick Clegg, for example, he was the co-prime minister of the UK for some time with David Cameron. Nick Clegg went and became the head of Facebook Europe. Now, I do not understand what skills he would have to take up that role. I do understand that he would get that role because of all of the contacts that he would have in the different political systems around Europe, especially Germany, France, Holland, UK, Ireland. He would have all of those contacts. So have they given him that position because of his contacts? Yes. Has he been given that position because of his technical expertise? Absolutely not. So what you tend to find, David Cameron is the same, Obama is the same. They all have positions. They call them, they have speaking roles where they go and turn up to meals, and that's how they earn their living after they step out of the political life. Whether you agree with that or not is a question of morals, and I'm not going to get into that today. But why I'm going to point out is that Philip Hammond, who was the Chancellor of the Exchequer in the UK, which is the 6th largest economy in the world at the moment, he is now heading up a company called Copper, which is going to offer tokenized securities from next year, and I believe he's done it in the UAE. So why is this important? Again, we want adoption. and we want regulation. It's our mantra. Why would not Richard Hammond, he drives the Top Gear. Why would Philip Hammond want to get involved in crypto if crypto wasn't going to be here in the next 3 or 4 years? Of course he's going to be involved in crypto. He was the Chancellor of the Exchequer of the 6th largest economy in the world, heading up a crypto tokenized securities investment company. Think about the people that he has access to. Think about the nations he has access to. I've never heard of Copper before I found this article today, by the way. I know nothing about them. But just bear in mind that these things are not chance. These things are preordained and pre-planned. The same with BlackRock, the same with Vanguard, the same with all the ETFs. They have known they are going to be offering these ETFs for the last 3 or 4 years. Copper did not start yesterday. Copper has been in the works for a few years. He has been advising Saudi Arabia since 2021. Don't think that these people can do anything but smell money. And the question is, are they going to try and take over and push retail out? Or are they going to try and take over and take as big a slice of the pie as possible? That's the way to look at it. And it's important to understand that when these people come to crypto, you shouldn't see them as a threat. You should see them as an opportunity to grow your own wealth. Because by these people being involved in crypto, they have access to more money than we're ever going to see. Anyway, I'm not going to spend too long on this article, other than to say that the defunct platform FTX has been allowed to sell its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust shares and other holdings. This isn't going to make much difference to the price action of crypto. It's not going to make much difference to the price action of Grayscale, but it's just another step in getting people their money back from this failed and fraudulent business. That's all there is to know about it. Now, I've got 3 minutes left, so I'm gonna pass this up and move on to talk about blockchain gaming, which I'm fairly negative about. I'm not negative about the future of it. I think the future is blockchain gaming. I'm negative about the players that we currently have in the markets, apart from maybe the game that I covered, Big Game, I think it was called, which I've covered on our channel. I've covered Star Atlas a few times, Earthman of the Sun a few times, Gala Games. Those companies are great, but there are other actors that are just trying to cash grab. Now, the big question is, how do you get blockchain onto gaming consoles? And this could possibly be something that I go and make a video. I make a video series with Brogan, and it's called Crypto in the Park, where we go and walk around the park and we talk about topics. We've talked about AI quite recently. We've talked about Shaquille O'Neal. We've talked about people that are in crypto or have been mentioned to be in crypto. We found Russell Brand. Russell Brand has 1,000 Bitcoin. So we do a little bit of investigation and we make videos about it. They're worth checking out because we just walk around the park. It's really nice. It's nice and relaxing, but we do cover interesting topics. And this might be one of those topics that we cover in the video that we make today. So this is about how do we get blockchain into consoles? And by getting them into consoles, we then get blockchain into nearly everybody's house. Anybody that's under 40 is going to have a console if they live in the right areas with the right connections. It's a huge chunk of people. So they've both been trying to work on blockchain technology. We know Microsoft is working on its own wallet. We know Sony has got NFT projects in the background. We know they're working on blockchain games. We've covered them on the channel. Where are they going with consoles? Well, Sony has filed a patent for a system allowing players to transfer digital assets between PlayStation titles using blockchain technology. This would enable unified progress and asset ownership across different games. This is what we've been calling for. Interoperability. Interoperability is a very long word to explain allowing you to put your character from Fortnite into Call of Duty. That connection between those two games is interoperability. You are taking the skin of this camo outfit and you're wearing it in Fortnite, you're wearing it in Call of Duty, you're wearing it in Minecraft. All that has to happen is the asset has to be mapped. So they're working on this. They obviously took over Blizzard. They've acquired Savage Game Studio. Microsoft is serious. We know about this. Blockchain gaming is a significant opportunity. The market value could go up 10% in the next 3 years. Blockchain gaming is the future. Don't take my disparaging comments about crypto in gaming as me being negative on NFTs and negative on gaming. What I'm negative on is people taking advantage of you. You're the early adopters. You're the guys and the girls who are going to make 100x. You're going to turn your $1,000 into $100,000 in the next 8 to 9 years. You're going to make a lot of money out of it, but you are also taking the brunt of all the risk. So if you're buying these NFTs, if you're buying some of these tokens that you're buying at the minute, they're going to go to zero. Those NFTs are going to go to zero. But some of those are going to 50, 100, 500x because you're taking the risks. The system, the blockchain system, is based on people like you. Don't let anyone tell you that you're lucky. In the next bull run, if Bitcoin hits $100,000 or $150,000, if you bought it at $15,000 last year and it's at $150,000 in 2025, don't let anybody tell you you're lucky to have 10x'd your money. You were there when everybody was telling you that crypto was going to zero. And it's the same for gaming. If you are buying gaming tokens, whether it be Gala, whether it be Mana, whether it be Star Atlas, okay? Some of those are going to go to zero. Some of them are going to become zombie chains, or they're not going to work. It's going to fall by the by, or the tokenomics are going to destroy the price. But for every token that goes by the wayside, you might catch the right token, and that token will 500x. That's why we tell you to diversify your portfolio. We tell you to hold, if it's a small portfolio, maybe 6 tokens. If it's a huge portfolio, maybe 10, 15 tokens. But diversification is to stop you putting all your eggs in one basket. Ripple might never get above $1. XRP might never go above $1. Cardano could go to $15. We would tell you to put equal weighting into Cardano and into XRP. That would give you a 7.5x. If one doesn't move and the other one does, that gives you a 7.5x. If you put everything into XRP and it doesn't move for the next 5 years, you've not lost anything, but you haven't benefited from the markets. And the same goes for gaming. Gaming is going to be absolutely massive. The biggest thing that crypto is going to see in terms of adoption is gaming. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. Gaming is how we get mass adoption. But we need to have Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Steam, Epic, Ubisoft. Everybody needs to understand and everybody needs to come on board. And then, as I say a lot, crypto is nowhere and then everywhere at once. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to see a huge influx of blockchain games or blockchain capable games in the next 5 years. And it's going to go from having nothing to people in 5 years' time saying, I can't believe that there was a time where you would win a character in a game and you weren't able to play it in a different game. And we're going to be there. The same way that if you were born before Google, trying to explain what the world was like to somebody that was born when the internet came about, that's a very difficult conversation to have, because these people that are born and don't remember what the world was like before the internet, they can't grasp what it was like. There's going to be people in 5 or 6 years' time who cannot grasp what it was like to not own your assets. So for me, this is at some point going to be the tipping point for crypto. And I think PlayStation, Microsoft, I think they're going to help us get there. With all that being said, I think it's now time to bring up the Bitcoin chart and start the quiz, and then say goodbye to a couple of people that watch us on a few different streaming platforms. So as always, what I normally do is pause the stream for about 30 seconds just to turn off different platforms. Where are we? We're not going to move, are we? Yesterday we dropped, actually. We dropped yesterday on the stream, so maybe we'll not bring that luck today. Maybe we'll bring some better luck today. Let's just get the chart down here a little bit. There we go. Right. I'm going to put the stream on pause for 30 seconds. If you are watching on one of the platforms that's about to disappear, please can I ask you to like and subscribe. We stream every day at 11 o'clock. For those of you on an exchange, don't go anywhere. We will be back with the quiz in about 30 seconds.